Chimere is a distant planet. It is defined by waves of life brought from Earth and set free to evolve independently in this new context. The indigenous life of the planet, swarms of microbes called magic by the people who live there, are what harvest Earth organisms and make copies on Chimere. As the asteroid which concluded the Mesozoic never struck Chimere, dinosaurs remain the dominant terrestrial megafauna.
In Qajar, shepherds guard their flocks with hound and hog, and in some rare cases, domesticated lions. In the Empire, farmers will train eagles to aid their herding dogs in the defense of their livestock. Qadanith have perhaps the strangest farmhands, enormous oviraptorsaurs. In the Free States, while dogs are bred and trained for livestock defense, a native domesticate of perhaps surprising origin defends herds and flocks. The apple-headed goose, greater Horu, or spur-winged swan. During the Tyrant Dynasty, a range of ornithomimids and presbyornithids birds occupied the niche held by ducks, swans, geese, and other annatid waterfowl of our niches today. Presbyornithids had some long-legged waders we don't really have a close analog for, while some others could easily be mistaken for goose or duck. Ornithomimids were much less analogous. However, they were quite successful. Waterfowl and other birds don't hunt on the wing, can still use flight to efficiently travel between feeding opportunities. Ornithomimids could do so as well, using their long, efficient stride to travel between lakes, slow rivers, and other bodies of water to feed on a range of small animals and wetland vegetation. This locomotor efficiency was not as useful as flight, but at their size they could easily dominate resources once they arrived and could endure long periods without food, again thanks to their size. In the aftermath of the dynastic extinction, the bird model proved much more successful in enduring what few resources remained. Though ornithomimids persist to this day in the Nishan Kairul, the clade is extinct in the known world. Some carried on for a while, but it seems both they and presbyornithids struggled in the face of constant harvest of annatids throughout the Warring Clade periods into modern times. Every harvest brought more annatids, and by the prelude of the Anchored period, ornithomimids went extinct and presbyornithians were vastly outnumbered by annatids in both species diversity and population. Despite a name translating as goose or swan, though the apple-headed goose is in the annatid family, it is neither swan or true goose. In Aminetrin, or the common tongue, they are called Horu. Their ancestor is thought to have come to Chimere from Eurasia 12 million years ago, and is likely a sister clade to the swans, which evolved not long after in the same region. This clade, called Horuinae, have 3 wild species found in the known world. Swans and geese have replaced much of their niches in the harvests concluding the Anchored period. However, there are still 2 genera, one with 2 species and the other with 1, holding out as representatives of this once dominant waterfowl clade. A single species, the red swan or lesser Horu, is comparable in size to large swans of Earth today. They are gregarious, but only live in small groups of 5 to 10 animals. They are a tropical and subtropical bird with a wide range throughout Nikar, northern Arvel, and eastern Kairul. The genus Plectocygnus, or Greater Horu, have 2 larger and colder adapted species, Horu and Nakarensis. Horu is found in southern Arvel, Picardia, and the Kalin Islands. Some will even summer in the northernmost islands of Kaishel. Nakarensis is, as its name implies, most abundant in Nikar, though it will sometimes summer in Picardia and Qajar. It is called the golden goose. It needs cooler temperatures than the red swan, but not as temperate adapted as the gray Horu. Horu technically applies to populations of these large fowl domesticated originally in the Free States, while Horu N is the wild species and clade at large interchangeably. To the assembly, they are called apple-headed geese for the distinctive knob atop the beaks of males. They also go by the name spur-winged swan. This bird is gregarious, forming loose flocks of between 50 and 500 birds. Dominant members can be quite territorial around nest sites and reliable feeding sources. Though they can get by in almost any form of sedges, grain, fruit, and leaf, grass is a necessary part of their diet. Grass can be a rare resource in some areas, and flocks will violently defend it. They prefer a mix of terrestrial and aquatic plants, and when droughts come, they will also violently defend territories of water and their favored foliage. With the largest ganders weighing up to 50 pounds and possessing a wingspan over 4 meters, it is the largest waterfowl of Chimere. It must be said that most ganders weigh closer to 40 pounds, and geese rarely over 30. They are inefficient at takeoff, and only do so to escape predators, travel between food sources, or when it comes time to migrate. Though both sexes possess spurs and keratinized lumps on their wings, it is much more pronounced in males. Ganders use these wing weapons mostly to quarrel with each other, but will readily use them to take on predators. As takeoff is not always an easy option for these geese, attacking as a group and striking with wings powerful enough to break human bone is quite a deterrent for most predators. Of course, they would prefer to flee, but they have been recorded seeing off a wide range of surprising predators, such as big cats, wolves, cockatrices, and even titan crows. With this suite of traits, socially coordinated, comfortable on a flexible diet, large and territorial, it should come as no surprise that they have taken well to a domesticated life. As long as farmers keep them well fed, they will fiercely defend this territory, yet show no aggression toward known and familiar fauna. As the farmers don't want them to fly off, breeding for size isn't a problem. Ganders of over 100 pounds have been bred and are prized guardians. The Free States don't have any giant theropods or terror birds. Lions have been hunted to extinction. Panthers, jackal birds, wolves, and lynxes are the main threats to man and beast. Against these foes, for a guard goose or 3 is a superior contestant than many guardians. They are brash, can back it up with their posturing, with a strike that can break a panther's back, and like dogs can get by on scraps and refuse. They also make great eating, though some breeds are meant only for livestock defense. Their ferocity is legendary. Indeed, Horu is a common personal name for the Free States for parents wishing to evoke the traits of this bird. It must be said that even large ganders have been lost to panthers, wolves, and jackalbirds, but often these geese are fierce enough to at least see them off or occupy long enough for the farmer to get his crossbow. To help mitigate these losses, some are fitted with a variety of armors depending on available materials. Quilted linen or cotton on the torso and neck are the most common. These can be quite restrictive if not well tailored though, so if a customized padded silk vest can be afforded, that is much preferred as this finer material and craftsmanship matches strength at far greater flexibility. Cloth is usually enough to protect these birds long enough for to fight back, but some added segments of baked leather and even metal for ganders has been proven worth the investments. Horu have quite long lifespans. 20 to 30 years is not uncommon in the wild, and domesticated Horu in good health can live into their 50s. This means that a young child can bond early, and the guard goose will defend them well into their adolescence. This has become a popular way of protecting children, especially in rural communities where parents have to work most of the day. It may not work in all places, especially in regions with larger predators the goose can't reliably fend off, but in the Free States, Qajar, Southern Empire, and lowlands of Picardia, the guard goose bond with and defend children is a reliable first line of defense against common threats children may face. Cheers to Cody for sponsoring this episode. Domesticated guard geese is a basic premise I've had for a while, but the combination of them and spur-wing geese was a lot of fun to combine at his suggestion. Also thanks to Peter, who raises and cares for many domesticated bird species and offered a lot of insight into the finer details of the Horu. Shout out to my Patreon patrons for your support. Goes a long way in making this project possible. I don't have any special perks for supporting me on Patreon, as I am committed as long as I am able to keeping Chimere without paywalls. Thanks to the generosity of my Patreon patrons, I am able to keep doing so. If you're interested in supporting this project, even at a $1 tier, it really does add up. Link here if you're interested. As I finish my next anthology over the next 2 months, I'll be doing only shorter episodes like this in an effort to complete the project, then get back to longer form videos in the autumn. Thanks again to Cody, and thank you for watching. Cheers, folks!